Hi everyone, my name is Gracie McDonough and I am a librarian at the College of Southern Nevada. So being in academia, that requires that we are all a part of different faculty senate committees, subcommittees, steering committees, task forces, departmental committees, and there's typically a leader for every single one of these committees that we're on. And along with that, we teach classes as well. So there is a couple critical components to being a leader for committees and different things that are going on at the college and also in your classroom. So the main thing to me, leadership to me, is inspiring engagement. You know, a lot of times students come into classes and they'll think, oh, why am I here? When am I ever going to use this? But as a teacher and as a committee leader, a lot of times you can go and you can relate to your students. You can tell them a story about whatever the topic is that you're teaching, how you used it and how it worked for you. And that can get them to go and change their questions to, okay, what can be done about this? Or how can I use this? Or how can I help change this? So that is the level of engagement that you want to get to as an instructor and also as a committee leader. So I hadn't really given my leadership style a whole lot of thought before. It's really subjective to who you're presenting to and who is actually judging you and saying, oh, they use this type of leadership. Typically what I do is I will go over my key talking points and I'll pick reasons why these key points matter to me and what sort of difference that they've made to me. And then I'll go and I'll ask questions of my group and bring them into the conversation. And I'll encourage them to share their experiences. I guess if I had to pick one leadership style that I would say that I am would be transformational leadership, because it's people-centered and it can be stimulating and encouraging innovation and new ideas with people. Okay, important aspects of leadership. So I've been a part of several teams where the leader has had just way too many things on their plate to really be effective. And I go into the classroom and as a librarian, I help other instructors. I help their students research and I help them find books and articles for different research papers and things like that. And watching so many instructors, you can really tell the difference between the effective leaders and the non-effective leaders. The effective leaders, they are super engaged and they have made a commitment to their classes and they really want to be there and they have the time to be there. They don't have, 100 other things going on with them. I can give you one example of this. So in my department, we previously had a librarian who was a lead of one of our committees, and she really didn't have time to be a very great leader. She wanted to do so many different things, and honestly, her desire was there to do it, but she was in her PhD program and she was writing her dissertation, and she just really didn't have the time to commit to do it. And it was kind of a lack in judgment on her part because the dissertation was a priority and it absolutely should have been. But we were trying to create these student tutorials that are on our website. And honestly, at this point, 3 years later, they're worse now than they were at the beginning. So it just, all of that, the time, the commitment, and, like I said, she had the desire, but she didn't have the other two components of that. So those are extremely important aspects for a leader. So great leadership helping. So one person can only do so much. And when you have a strong team of people with the same vision, you can accomplish so much. Um, like I have said several times now, a great leader engages their team and inspires them, not only with a positive attitude, but with problem solving skills. And, it's somebody that your team can trust. They can come to you, and if they have an issue that isn't really related to whatever project you happen to be working on at the time, if it's just something personal or whatever. But when they inspire people to go out and to make a difference in their communities, and the more people you can engage, the better your outcome. So they're trusted, they're problem solvers, and they are very inspirational. So great leadership hurting. I was reading a couple of articles when I was writing my paper, and one of the articles really spoke to me about this. So it's when you set your expectations too high. One of the articles that I read was called Housing First for Homeless Persons with Active Addictions. And are we overreaching? So this particular study took place in over 350 communities across the United States in 2009. And in some communities, it had a great success. And in other communities, it really didn't. And they didn't collect enough statistical information to find out why it worked really well in some communities, but not in others. So just looking at it, looking at the overall big picture of it, well, if it worked here, it can work there. So you would think that it would be, a good thing to go to. But honestly, when you set the expectations too high, not only can it cause, disgruntled and depressed volunteers and employees, but those things can happen to the leaders as well. And then, if your leaders drop out or whatever the case is, it doesn't work very well. So setting the expectations too high is definitely a hurtful thing to do. So for this PowerPoint, you might have noticed that I use some artistic graphics in the background. So I look at leadership like I look at different types of works of art. So different types of leadership can inspire different people. So just because ballet might not inspire you, impressionist art might. And that's the very same thing with leadership. Just because my style of leadership doesn't really work for you, other styles might. So always, take it for what it's worth. There are different styles, and maybe you don't know that something is going to work as well for you as it does, but don't ever, like, oh, that's not really my style. Give it a chance and see what comes of it. Thank you so much.